I'm here with Edison football coach Mike McKenzie, who has rumor has it, pretty big game Saturday night, 7 o'clock at Kettlewell Stadium against Route 43 rival Indian Creek. Talk about last week's game first, and I know you beat it into the kid's head last week about Buckeyes not as bad as their record, Buckeyes not as bad. Did you ever have to go into halftime and go, I told you so?
Nah, I think our kids knew. I mean, when we went in, we knew it was going to. Our kids bought into it. We talked about it all week, but our kids watch tape. They see it. I mean, the tape doesn't lie. And they saw how well they've been playing the last couple of weeks, and they knew it was going to be a dogfight, and it proved to be that way.
Any anxious moments, kind of?
Oh yeah, down 21-20 after I'd called the fake punt, and there was a little bit of anxiousness there. They had a couple plays that they'd made there. We're 3rd and 17, and 5 minutes to go in the game, so I'm sure there was a little bit of anxiousness. But it's just a matter of thinking about your next play. There's not a whole lot of time to spend being anxious because I'm worried about what we're going to do next. And during the game, probably not as much as a fan as I would be,
right?
Just because I'm thinking about the next play and things. But definitely we had some anxiousness there.
Talk about your kids, how, being down 21-20, came back, lead 28-21, and then you can say Justin slipped or whatever, but the bottom line is you guys won a game you had to win.
Yeah, I mean, and you look on tape, we talked about it, we were just watching here a little bit ago. He slipped, but we kind of forced that slip. We had pressure, we reestablished the line. As soon as he took the handoff, there was someone right in his face, and he was trying to make a cut, and even if he made that cut, I think we had people there. I think we had a real good push there, and I don't think that he would have got it even if he wouldn't have slipped. But that's the game of football. There's things like that happen all the time, and we've been on the wrong end of those things many years, and we seem to be on the right end this year. But our kids, part of that, they talk about luck is opportunity, when opportunity and preparation meet, and that seems to be what's happening here.
All right, obviously now take away the records and what's going on Saturday night. You're playing your rival, Indian Creek. They want to beat the death out of you, and you want to beat the death out of them, regardless of what everyone's record is and what's on the line.
Absolutely.
Talk about that being a Week 10 game.
That rivalry game, you can throw the records out the door. There's so much enthusiasm. The kids are so fired up and emotion, and all the records and everything go out the door because kids are going to play their tails off. So it's going to be a heck of a game. We're excited. Both of us have winning records right now, and when Coach Connor and I kind of started the idea of the Route 43 Bowl and getting the banquet, and we wanted to increase the rivalry, increase the interest in the game, and I think those things have taken hold. Last year we had a nice crowd out here, and they were playing for the playoffs, so I think it's the rivalry starting to increase, being Week 10 and doing some of those things that we're doing, and we've both been happy with that, with the increased interest in it, and it's just going to be a great game. They're very talented. They've had some injuries and some of those things, but their kids are very, very talented, and it's going to be a great game.
I'm talking about obviously what's on the line, the P word's on the line, and Creek losing to Bel Air kind of, I don't want to say lost a little bit of luster because it's still a rivalry game, but talk about just how you guys as a coaching staff are trying to just kind of stay away from that mindset and just realize we still have a football game
to play. That's it. I mean, we're talking about Creek, and for 3 weeks now, 3 or 4 weeks, the playoff talk has kind of crept in, and we refuse to talk about it. I refuse to look at it. Everyone asks me what position we're in and how many points, and honest to goodness, the only thing I know is what other people tell me. They tell me we're in 7th, and we're close, and this, and I can't worry about that. We got to worry about Creek. If we don't beat Creek, then there is no playoffs. And it was the same week last week if we didn't beat Buckeye. And so I'm just focused on Indian Creek, and I haven't looked at all the scenarios. And people talk about who we could be playing. Well, we're playing Indian Creek, and that's the bottom line, and that's all we're talking about. And I think our kids have done a pretty good job of that. I haven't heard them. Hey, coach, see this? They haven't been talking that to me. So I don't know. Either they're smart enough not to tell me, or usually you at least hear it. If they're talking about it, you hear it.
Right.
You walk. I haven't heard them talking about it. I think they're pretty focused, and I'm real happy with that focus and their mental approach to that.
Then I'll obviously talk about that. You're playing a Saturday night game, which is a little bit different, but it's you got all this stuff crammed into the week with the seniors and the dinner and the sportsmanship dinner Wednesday night. But obviously, when you guys take the field Saturday night at 7, you'll know your fate for the most part because everyone's playing Friday night, and you'll know the deal.
And yeah, but I don't care. I mean, I just want to beat Indian Creek. You know,
right.
That's the bottom line. We want to beat our rivalries and have those bragging rights, and then we'll worry about week 11 and if we're fortunate enough to make that and who that opponent is. But this is your local, this is your backyard, and this is your bragging rights. And these are the guys that we're going to see for the next 356 days,
right?
Or next 365 days, and they're the ones that we see the most. So we want to beat them. We want our focus to be 100% on them and winning that game. It's gonna, like I said, it's gonna be a real good battle, and I think every year it's been a good game. And we anticipate another one.
Last question. Talk about every team has injuries this time of year. No one goes through 10 weeks of football plus preseason plus without having injuries. Just talk about how that affects the weekly pregame, the weekly game preparation when kids are out, kids are dinged.
It makes it a lot tougher. I mean, obviously, as I made the comment in the paper, we're kind of held together with duct tape and chicken wire right now. Friday morning for the game, I had to take 4 kids over to Riverside getting treatments and medicine and everything just to play on Friday night. And 2 of those guys in our last touchdown drive, Johnny threw a pass to Kyle Minger. Both of those guys were over there Friday morning, banged up, and Kyle Minger's got a real banged up shoulder, and Shane O'Brien didn't play, and I mean we just got a bunch of kids that are extremely banged up right now. So we have to have more of a mental approach. We won't wear shoulder pads we might not wear shoulder pads again until the game on Saturday night. Depending on how things go, but there's a good possibility we're going to be practicing helmets and shorts, so we got to be real mental, and you got to be a veteran team to be able to do that, because sometimes if you're not a veteran team, you go out in helmets and shorts and you think it's a screw around practice, and it's not. It's still got to be lining up and doing things full speed. We're just not banging. We're just taking that physical component out of it. And, we haven't practiced in full gear in 3 weeks now. We haven't had our actual game pants on. We practiced in shorts and shoulder pads every week for about the last 3 weeks, just because we're so banged up. And bottom line is we got to be able to perform on Friday night. So and we've been physical, so it's not like we've lost our physicality because of it. I think at times we're more physical because we're a little fresher. But learning how to practice without that full contact component takes some veteran leadership, because you got to do. We try to do everything full speed up to that last moment of impact. So it's still a matter of getting your pad level low, and it's not standing up. It's not doing things where we're just going half speed. So we still do things that are in full speed. We're just taking away that last second moment of impact component and trying to keep them healthier.
All right, Coach. Good luck Saturday night.
Thank you.
Have a good
Take
year.
all we can get.
Yeah, exactly. Bingo.